Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? I'm just looking at how much we have left before the end of the month. Well, we're going to try to get through it all, but I will probably not be streaming Thursday forward. My next one will probably be Monday, and I have meetings, but I'm going to Florida, as some of you know. So, but maybe I'll bring this with me and I'll try to do some streaming. We shall see, but I definitely needed to stream tonight. And what I have here is a little bottle of Fireball, not a sponsor, though Fireball should be a sponsor. This is actually the Fireballs that I was given in New Hampshire that I had tucked away. If you guys remember that little gift bag you got me in New Hampshire with the coffee mug that said based and beautiful, I had them sitting in that coffee mug, and then I was like, oh wow. So I decided to bring one of this down here. It's filling the room with cinnamon. Let me do the YouTube stuff and then we will get started. So as always, please subscribe to the channel. But also, if you could go over to Rumble and look up Pink Flame of Liberty, I have a feeling that my YouTube days, at least saying what I want to say, are probably numbered. And there's some videos that I want to do that I'm not going to be able to do here. So there's already a video on Rumble. It's just a little short one, only 20 seconds, that got removed from TikTok. Because apparently you're allowed to mock women on TikTok, but you can't defend them. So go check it out over on Rumble. It's just, again, it's a little TikTok video, so it's super short. I didn't even try to upload it to YouTube because I knew. And, didn't feel like dealing with that. So please subscribe here because, my history shows will still be here. They're pretty tame. But some of the spicier content will be over on Rumble if I do more like social commentary type of thing. Also, please, speaking of spicy, follow me on Twitter. I would super appreciate it. And last but not least, certainly not least, I would really appreciate your support at I don't like the way this necklace is sitting on my neckline, at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Would truly, truly appreciate it. And oh my God, I need a haircut. Or it's at that weird length where I either need to cut it super short again, which is what I prefer, or just let it grow really long. I used to have waist length hair, by the way. For most of my life, I had waist length hair. And then when I got it cut, I didn't go halfway because you all know how I am. I'm quite the extremist. I went from waist to up here. But it's like it's got a lot of split ends and stuff now. So I might just trim it myself. Anyway, and hello Adam, hello Connor, hello JJ, hello everyone who's not talking in chat but is watching, because I do have an activity monitor and I see you. I'm like the NSA. I'm watching you at all times. So, but let's continue here with LP News. Oh, also before I forget, please come to the Bylaws Town Hall tomorrow. If you don't know what that is, it's basically, I sent out a mini report. It's on the main LP site on the front page with our changes that we passed so far. And we're soliciting feedback and suggestions for future changes. So it's kind of be questions and answers and feedback between the membership and the Bylaws and Rules Committee. So would truly appreciate it if you would come to that tomorrow. And depending upon the level of participation, we've allotted 2 hours. If we don't spend the whole 2 hours on the town hall, we're going to move right into a bylaws meeting. But I think we probably will end up spending the 2 hours. Libertarians love to talk bylaws. I can see you, Mike. How are you doing? And I'm sure you will be there tomorrow because you're on the committee. What's the screwdriver next to your name mean? Like, I've never seen that before. I'm looking. I don't think it'll show up if I stick you on broadcast. Yeah, look. See. Oh, let me take down that Patreon thing. Can you see next to your name there's a screwdriver? That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I have a ton of videos on Rumble because I have it set up so that everything I do on YouTube automatically posts to Rumble, but I am going to independently be uploading some content to Rumble. The first one today was that one on, I don't want to risk getting yanked off of YouTube. But there are some that I'm going to do over on Rumble only. So now let's get to the LP News. Remember, we were in the middle of state party updates for April-May 1975. We were on Massachusetts. So, oh, that means you're a moderator. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought I made you one too, JJ. Oh, was that just on Twitch? I don't know. But that's interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay. It might be just this new program because you've been in my chat a million times, but maybe not since I switched from using Restream to just using Ecamm. So that could be it. All right. So Massachusetts, the 3rd annual state LP convention is scheduled for April 26th. So they were one of the earlier parties if they're already having their 3rd convention. Featuring an address by Fran Youngstein, Massachusetts Libertarians are busy distributing a hard-hitting leaflet commemorating, and that's misspelled, it says commemorating, the Boston Tea Party, introducing the public to libertarian ideas. A new member of the MLP is Robert Nozick. I didn't know he was from Massachusetts. I knew he was from New England in some sense. Author of the highly acclaimed Anarchy State and Utopia. Nozick and Roger McBride were also scheduled to address the convention. Michigan. Time for a fireball. For a while, Massachusetts was my problem child. Now, apparently, it's Michigan. Vital LP organizations are busy in various sections of Michigan. 50 people turned out for a libertarian speaker at the Michigan State University. Tapes of Nathaniel Brandon, who was Ayn Rand's love interest, and Murray Rothbard are circulating. And a celebration of Paul Revere's ride took place in Ann Arbor. The drive for LP ballot status is scheduled to begin on July 4th, and hundreds of party members in Michigan are expected to devote full-time to this effort. Speaking of ballot stuff, you may have seen on the LNC list, we had these periods of quiet where I was getting kind of chill, wow, I mean, there's always a lot of stuff for me to do, but not a lot of public-facing stuff for me to do. And then I had to start 3 ballots today. I'm like, what the heck? We don't do many email ballots because we meet very often, but 3 email ballots got started today. One is the filling of the at-large vacancy. 2 was a motion to amend something previously adopted. The dates we originally approved for the next in-person LNC meeting, which will be at the D.C. Hilton, turned out not to be available, so we had to amend that, and that's going right now. And the one I was trying to get to, which is an executive committee ballot, though it is on the LNC list, to approve expenses for Bill Redpath, who is going to start the petitioning effort in Arkansas. So we've officially kicked off our ballot access petitioning. Bill Redpath is like a goat when it comes to that. So he'll be staying in Arkansas and, getting some signatures. All right, Minnesota. The party has seen. There's a lot of typos in this issue. A great deal of activity lately centered around appearances by Roger McBride, economist Ed Kontowski, and tax resister Jerome Daley. A major effort is underway to spread libertarian concepts into the high schools under the direction of a school presentation program. Then Nevada. The biggest news from Nevada is the entry of Jim Libertarian Burns, though he wasn't called Libertarian Burns, son of James Burns, into the race for mayor of Las Vegas. Burns received major newspaper coverage of his press conference announcing his campaign. Burns has come out against business licensing, zoning laws, building codes, and anti-pornography campaigns by the police. We're kind of trucking through this because I do want to get through the state parties today, because this has already been broken up into 3 parts. Though I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I'm starving. New Hampshire. The LP has gained... Oh, my back is... It's gotten a lot better. I wasn't whining about it at the beginning, but as the day wears on, it's ouchy. It's ouchy. The LP has gained publicity since an article about it was printed in as THEE, like Megan Thee Stallion. Like, God, there's a lot of typos in this one. But we want to see if we can find this article. In the Manchester Union Leader, the state's most influential newspaper. New Hampshire LPers are starting several serious campaigns for state and local offices and feel they have a chance to do very well. The drive to achieve ballot access or ballot status will be underway shortly. New Jersey. And, I see someone decided to switch platforms. So speaking of Twitch, the whole Amazon Prime thing, truly appreciate it. If anyone who has Amazon Prime who is watching on Twitch would gift me your sponsorship for a month, that would be wonderful. Now that I started talking, and okay, Adam, I didn't know who it was. now they started talking about my back hurting, and now I'm really just, it's starting, like, it's like me noticing it just made it come alive. It's very twingy right now. That's what the fireball's for. Hopefully I'll make it through these states, because it is super bothering me. The party in the Garden State has been extremely active, with members appearing on numerous media programs. The LP has been at the forefront of anti-taxation campaigns in numerous elections and has inaugurated a 1% for Freedom campaign, proposing a 1% per year reduction in the state budget until freedom is attained. A concentrated media effort has spread libertarian ideas to many of New Jersey's newspapers, TV, and radio stations. And I'm going to make something here, a comment here that some people are going to get mad at. Sorry if me just saying an observation that I had, that's the truth, bothers you. Sorry, not sorry. So today, really just horrible gun legislation. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I think you have to say pew pew. Legislation was introduced in Colorado. And it's, I mean, all such legislation is bad, but this is particularly bad, Mike, if you hadn't seen it. It's really bad. And testimony started at, I think, 9:30 this morning, and it was still going at 7:30 this evening. And against it, between for and against it, was 1-6. Like, the people that came to testify were overwhelmingly against it. But you could tell just by hearing the committee that it was going to pass out of committee. It was all just performative, but, you know, people allegedly got their say, right? But here's something I noticed. And if this offends you, I'm really enjoying, as John Jurgman said here, I'm really starting to enjoy my crabby dotage where, like, get off my lawn, I don't care anymore. At least for the few hours of testimony I listened to, all of the people in favor of it were women. And they were all super emotional about it. My rights, fellow women, are not subject to your feelings. It was crazy. It was crazy. Now, there were plenty of women that were against it as well. But everyone for it that I heard, again, that wasn't the entire day, was all women. Was all super emotional women. And Bennett Rutledge got scolded, Mike. I winced when I heard what he said. He didn't mean it offensively. But Bennett's enjoying his dotage, I think, a bit too much, too. And he used the term for a member of the canine, a female of the canine persuasion in his speech, but he meant it literally like that. He didn't mean it in the pejorative sense where you might use it against a woman. He meant it literally like a mama dog. And he was basically saying that he understood why some mothers were coming out like mama dogs in favor of this legislation, but he used that word and he got scolded and said that maybe that, what did the committee person said, the public gets to say what they want, but I would suggest you temper your language next time. Poor Bennett, because Bennett is so super logical, and he was like, what do you mean? I would blah, 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 because he didn't mean it offensively, but that's like peak libertarian right there, like not understanding that perhaps you shouldn't do that. And I always say things I shouldn't, so I was like, that could have been me. But anyway, Bennett used the B word. Oh. Bennett, we love you, Bennett, but that is peak libertarian right there. Oh. But I kept hearing Michael Stapleton's name get called like he was coming up on the list, but they like never called on him. I don't know if I missed it or what happened, but like I really wanted to hear Michael speak. Leslie spoke earlier in the day and Wayne got to hear that. But seriously, this testimony was going on 10 hours when we turned it off because we already knew how the vote was going to go. You could tell by the leading questions that the committee was asking. It was ridiculous. Okay, where did I leave off before my rant? New Mexico. Efforts are underway in New Mexico to get the LP off the ground. Wait a minute. I thought, never mind, I'm not going to do my whole New Mexico thing. Let it go. And this isn't about the current New Mexico. It's about the former New Mexico. The current New Mexico, from what I understand, are doing fantastic. Just something that the former New Mexico had said about how they were around before the National Party was. Not according to this, because efforts were underway to get them off the ground. Oops. And organized. Research is being conducted to achieve ballot status for state and local elections. Progress in the state has started to accelerate under the new LP leadership. New York. Cohen is back as a candidate, but this time it's Carol Cohen, wife of Sanford Cohen, last fall's most prominent LP congressional candidate, running for mayor of Poughkeepsie. Is that how you pronounce it? Poughkeepsie, New York. She has entered the Conservative Party primary as well, while her running mate for county executive LP or Ellen Davis has entered the Democratic primary. Remember, they've always had where you can hold multiple party lines. They have that in New York. Both will be on the Free Libertarian Party ticket. Cohen and Davis are running hard already, lining up speaking engagements and issuing press releases. They have received good coverage in the local papers. Oregon. LPers here have increased their efforts since their convention featuring Sandy Cohen a few months back. They are heavily involved in Tax Protest Day and have distributed a number of anti-taxation leaflets. Research and organizational programs are running smoothly. Pennsylvania. 2 LPers recently spent 4 hours on a radio talk show in Chester. The response and level of interest generated by their appearance was quite high. The LP has made it its primary goal to monitor every piece of legislation that comes out of the state capitol. Party members are encouraged to make their views known to legislators and through the media. Rhode Island. Another state is heard from. Da, 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 da. Pat Ford, your state is heard from. A party organization is starting up in Rhode Island under the temporary leadership of Jim Fraser at Brown University. Interestingly enough, the petition for affiliation for Rhode Island, which I think happened in 1975, I actually have a copy of that. That's one of the few that have survived. Tennessee. The LP held its convention in March, electing officers and creating a constitution. The speaker was Roger McBride, who congratulated State Party Chairman Jim Forrester for his good work over the past year. McBride garnered a great deal of media coverage during his stay, including a 1-hour stint on the area's leading radio talk show. As in Pennsylvania, the Tennessee Party keeps well informed of legislative proposals. One of the more recent was a bill to permit a no vote to appear on the ballot after the names of candidates. I wonder how, did that pass? And if so, how long did that last? Because I don't think they allow that now. And that's actually very heretical under, if you're just doing like a Roberts election where you can't, the way you vote for against the candidate is by voting for another one or not voting, I suppose. Okay, need to take another sip. My back is killing me. And remember, all super chats, or if you're watching after the fact, super thanks matter. Okay. Texas. This is a long one. Wait, hold on. Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's what she said.
The state LP is initiating a fundraising effort to fuel its 76 campaign activities. At the state convention some months ago, the LP's constitution and rules were brought into conformance with the state election code. Louisiana state legislator Woody Jenkins spoke to the convention on the horrors of campaign spending reforms. LPers were at the Fort Worth Gun Show in late March talking about libertarianism. LPers proselytized heavily at a Young Americans for Freedom regional gathering in Houston. In Dallas, the LP group passed a resolution opposing the creation of a state utilities commission and proposing that competition in utilities be legalized instead. Yay! The resolution was sent to the local press and to all Dallas County legislators. Replies were received from several of them. I wonder what the replies were. Libertarians in Texas are planning to prepare an analysis of the voting records of state legislators, an important way of keeping track of the current political scene. A Houston area commercial artist has been working on expanding the successful slideshow orientation program used by the Harris County LP on the Rice University campus. Man, I wish I had a copy of that program. Other Houston activities include letters to local newspapers, tax-related propaganda, and organizing and funding a mailing to those at Houston area colleges. Check this out. Here's the first time I've seen this mentioned. I want to put a little star by this. This is the first time I've seen... Yes, I do have a pink pens. I do use pink pens. Go figure. Mr. Seebeck can attest to that. This is the first time I've seen this noted in LP News. The party has changed its name from the Texas Libertarian Party to the Libertarian Party of Texas in order to improve its position on the ballot. New party groups are growing in Lubbock, Graham, and Corpus Christi. Now, I don't know if what they're saying there is because the ballot was alphabetical and L comes before T. That's not the way... If that's what they're saying there, that's not the reason why most of the state parties changed their name to that format. It was so that the word libertarian would be first on the ballot rather than the name of the state, which, like, in the state itself has no value. Utah. The Utah LP newsletter, Freedom Express. I don't think I've heard of that. Includes a number of well-written articles on the importance of rational communication, inflation, and other topical issues. The way that was organized makes it sound like it was an article on the importance of inflation, because it's hard to tell. Sorry, it's me, the grammarian here. Whether importance of was supposed to go with both rational communication and inflation, or just with rational communication. I would have rewritten that sentence to say, well-written articles on inflation, comma, the importance of rational communication, comma, and other topical issues, or something like that. Because the way it's written right now, it is vague. It's unclear. It's ambiguous. It would require interpretation, which... I was going to just start citing Robert's rules. Let's not do that. Let's move on. LPers report that they are nearing their goal of achieving ballot status and are forming a group to monitor state and federal legislation. Speaking of Roberts, Mike, when are we doing our remote, you went home with calendar pages. When are we doing our show? I didn't turn the candles on. Deeply upset. Okay, let's continue. Washington. LPers in the state made an all-out effort to defeat the Seattle school tax levy at the polls. Other activities include a ballot initiative to remove the sales tax and business and occupation tax from basic necessities. Organizational and fundraising efforts are underway for these programs and many more. Newly elected state chairman Richard Diamond recently spoke at a political symposium at Washington State University. Wisconsin. The Libertarian Party has received an impressive amount of media coverage in connection with its efforts to implement right of privacy laws. These efforts centered around 2 ballot referenda, but also included the spreading of libertarian ideas through letters to the editor, etc. Activity was especially heavy in the Madison, University of Wisconsin area. Libertarians have appeared on several talk shows recently, and party membership has grown. And back then, we used to include reports about Canada in here. So let's look at the Canada Party. A new Libertarian Association, Ottawa Libertarian Associates. Was George Phillies there? Because he just frickin' loves the word association. Has been formed in Canada's capital. It plans to function as a resource group, working with the federal and provincial LPs whenever either one is contesting an election, and working independently on municipal elections and educational programs. The new group is headed by Bob Lebert. The newsletter of the Ontario LP reports that former Canada LP chairman Steve Jarvis spoke in London on regulation of the trucking industry, and Phil Spicer addressed students in Ancaster. Is there a London in Canada, or do they mean London, England here? Don't know. All right, so that is it for the state LP updates. Let me show you where we are going next. So let's go to this screen here. We just finished here, this page. So where we are going next, we already finished the article on Roger McBride tosses hat into the ring. That was continued from page 1. But what we are going to be covering next time, so there is a London in Ontario. Okay, perfect. That's what I thought. I thought it'd be weird for them to say London if they meant England without saying England. So what we're going to be covering next time is sorted. Sorted, or the sordid background of the fairness doctrine, and some broadcasting readings. Okay, so that's what we'll be covering whenever we do this again. And let me show you what we have remaining before we do any bonus stuff. But we have still what's happening inside the LP. News media recognize LP achievements and goals. We already did the Nozick book because that was continued from page 1. And then the last page, world news notes for libertarians. But that will be it for this evening. I hope you had an awesome, hope you have an awesome night. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please do go follow me or subscribe or whatever the heck they call it on Rumble. And if I don't broadcast over the weekend, which will be bits and clips probably from the LP Florida convention, I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to